All right, let's dive in. What we're looking at here is a 5-year journey, a real masterclass in how to build a high-impact revenue strategy basically from scratch. We're going to see how things went from just fixing the basics to driving some serious innovation across an entire portfolio. It's a story about data, about strategy, and most importantly, about big-time growth.
And when we talk about growth, well, let's just start with the headline number, right? This journey delivered up to a 12% lift in revenue per available room. Now, that's not just a small bump. We're talking about a really substantial, measurable impact on the bottom line. But it wasn't just about driving revenue. It was also about creating some incredible efficiencies. We're talking about saving 8 to 12 hours of manual reporting per property every single week. Think about what a team can do with all that time back in their pockets. And maybe just as critical in today's world, it was about owning that customer relationship. These strategies led to an increase in high-value direct bookings by as much as 15 percentage points. That means lower commission costs and a much healthier, more profitable business. So here's our roadmap. We've just seen that impact snapshot. Next, we'll dig into year 1, where the foundation was laid. Then we'll get into the strategic growth of years 2 and 3, see how it all got scaled up in year 4, and finally, wrap up with what it all means for what's next. Okay, let's start right at the beginning. Year 1 was all about one thing: creating order out of chaos. The main goal was to build a single source of truth, a really rock-solid foundation for data, so that every single decision from that point on could be made with confidence. And the approach in that first year was super methodical. It kicked off with getting everyone to speak the same language by standardizing the key metrics. From there, it was all about rebuilding the core forecasts, and then the year finished up by digging into rate parity and channel costs to find and plug any revenue leaks.
So what was the big problem? Well, it was pretty simple, really. If you don't have a shared language for your data, you can't have a coherent strategy. Every property was kind of measuring success its own way, which led to these multiple versions of the truth. And that just makes decision-making slow, inefficient, and honestly, pretty unreliable.
So the solution was a really clear 4-step process. First, standardize all the definitions, so ADR means the same thing everywhere. Second, build one unified reporting model for everyone to use. Third, put rules in place to make sure the data coming in is actually accurate. And finally, and this is key, automate alerts to flag any big changes that need attention right away.
And the impact was immediate. This wasn't just about having cleaner data, it was about speed. Saving those 10+ hours on reporting meant teams could now react to what was happening in the market in hours, not days. It completely turned a painful chore into a real competitive edge.
Okay, so with that solid data foundation in place, the whole game could change. It was time to shift from just fixing problems to actively creating value. This was the big pivot, right? Going from being reactive to being truly proactive in driving growth.
And that new, clean data started telling a story. It showed that several key properties were actually underperforming against their direct competition, with an RGI below 1. And what that really means is they were just leaving money on the table, especially on those peak nights when they should have been winning.
The answer here wasn't just to guess at new pricing. No, instead, it was about using data to build a price elasticity model. This is a way to find that perfect sweet spot, to understand exactly how high you can push your rates on those key dates before you start to lose bookings, which lets you maximize every single dollar. And the bottom line, it flat out worked. By using this data-driven strategy, those key properties saw their RGI jump by up to 8 points in just a couple of quarters. That's pure profit, captured directly from opportunities that were being missed before.
So that brings us to year 4, which was a real inflection point. This year was all about taking what worked, those proven strategies from individual hotels, and figuring out how to scale them across the entire portfolio using technology and automation.
Because at the portfolio level, the bottlenecks were obvious. Even with good data, you still had people manually pulling reports, slowly spotting issues, and inconsistently tracking what was being done about it. To manage a growing portfolio, the system itself needed to get a whole lot smarter.
And the solution was a total game changer: a centralized Power BI revenue command center. This thing automated the whole process. It sucked in all the data, used smart alerts to flag only the things that actually mattered, and even had a built-in tracker to make sure actions were taken and to see the results. The impact on speed and efficiency was just incredible. The whole reporting cycle, from getting the data to making a strategic decision, went from a sluggish 3-day ordeal down to same-day analysis. This created a level of agility that was just impossible before.
So what did this all add up to? Well, this 5-year journey didn't just create a string of successes, it actually built a scalable, data-driven framework for future growth. And just as important, it pointed out exactly where to focus next.
The first huge takeaway is just how powerful a remote, tech-first model can be. This whole journey proves that if you focus on automation and standardization, you can build systems that deliver a massive, quantifiable return on investment across a diverse portfolio, all without needing to be on site 24/7.
But what's really cool is that this success also shines a light on what's next. While automation gets incredible results, we can see clear opportunities to make an even bigger impact by helping teams on the ground adopt these tools even more deeply and by finding new ways to capture that nuanced, local market feel.
And all of this leaves us with a really powerful, forward-looking question. We've seen the playbook, right? We have a proven method for turning data chaos into strategic results. So the real question isn't if it works, but how do we take this same scaled, data-driven approach and point it at our next, even more complex portfolio challenge?